Alright, today we're going to be installing a intercooler on this 2.0 Q60. Also going to be installing a JB4. We'll be doing a draggy before the tune and after the tune to see what's the difference. So first off, you just got to get this bumper off. We're going to get the tabs. We got the engine cover off. We're going to remove the bumper, and then we'll also be removing the intercooler. Once you get the tabs off the bumper to remove it, you don't need to remove these. This is for the guard that clips on to right here. You're gonna remove all the, first of all, the cover, and then all these little plastic tabs, and then you got some screws right here on the bottom. Like right here's one right there, and along the side. He doesn't have the underguard, so we won't have to do the ones in the center, but to remove the bumper you do have to unscrew these. And then you gotta pop this one plastic plug off, and then there's gonna be a screw right here. This one wasn't even hooked up. The screw's in there, but it wasn't even hooked up. On the other side there's gonna be another screw, and then this just pops out. To get to the fog light, you have to remove the bumper on this side because of the window washer fluid. On the other side you can just unplug it. And then you're gonna have one bolt in here, and one bolt in here on this side. You're gonna have to lift up these plastics on both sides to unscrew them. If you have the underguard, this car didn't have it. If you do, you're gonna have screws along there. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, 8 of them if you can include the corners. So if you do have it, you gotta unscrew those, but it's just the screw. This car didn't have them, so we didn't have to do it. So once the bumper's off, you can unplug these. So when you pull off, just keep it really close to the car. You got 2 plugs for the fog lights, one on this side and one on that side. Alright, so next up you're gonna have to remove the crash bar so we can get to the piping. It's just gonna be 4 12mm bolts on this one. One's gonna be a nut, and they're gonna be 3 bolts. On the other side there's 1 nut and then 3 bolts, just like this. So once we get this removed, we can get access to the intercooler. It was actually 2 bolts and 2 nuts on each side. We got all that clear. There was these little plastic things that they just pull off. So now we got access to the actual intercooler. You can see that there's a bolt right here. There's a bolt on the bottom, and then there's this like hose clamp for the hose that comes off of the intercooler piping. This looks like plastic. Yeah, so just gotta be careful when you're pulling this off. First things first is we're gonna loosen up the hose clamps just to get this loose off, and then we'll do the bottom ones because they seem to be most trickiest. And then we'll loosen these up and slowly take it off. It's 2 of us, so we're able to kind of be careful on both sides. You don't want to crack this. Just got to be careful. So now that we got the stock intercooler off, on this side you have a rubber coupling. You want to take both hose clamps off, and then you might want to stick a screwdriver or something just to lubricate it if it hasn't been off. That way you can twist it. You're gonna pop off this side first because it has the actual coupling, the rubber coupling, so you're able to get this side off. And once you're able to get that side off, then you could kind of twist the intercooler to be able to get it off of this side, since this does not have a coupler. It's just a piping with like a rubber gasket. These are not bolts, these are just rubber. It has a rubber grommet that sits on like an aluminum rod to kind of keep it in place. These are the only 2 bolts that actually hold the intercooler down. Once you get that out, you got the old one off. And to show you comparison versus the stock one, this is all foam right here, so it's just this big compared to the aftermarket one. And to show you the thickness, this is way thicker. Just to see the thickness difference. This one does taper down on one side, but that's just so that it can fit better. We're gonna go ahead and install that, and then I'll show you how we do that once we get it on. I'll explain to you the way we did it, just to kind of make it easier for you guys. So you're gonna take these washers off of the old one with the rubber grommet, and then also the rubber grommet for the bottom mounting thing. This is gonna sit into here for this bottom one, and then that's also so that you can mount it up right here. What we did, we took a little bit of oil, just like a fingertip of it, rubbed it along the intercooler on both sides because it was kind of dry, the coupling, so it was hard to slide it in. This one's going to be kind of difficult to do, so putting it back in, you want to do this one first. The way we did it, one of us was holding the intercooler piping while the other was grabbing the other end and supporting it and pushing at the same time. So you got to be careful. You do have the aluminum stud that comes down from the intercooler to support it onto this bottom bracket. You're just going to twist it, and it's just going to slip on. It will take some force one thing you want to make sure is to support the intercooler piping. Since it is plastic, you don't want it to crack or bend anywhere. So just do that, and then once you get that side in, this side is way easier because you have this coupling that on both sides that you're able to move. Once you get that side on, you want to make sure that these are lined up, that the rubbers are in right. Get that, make sure that the bolts line up, tighten up the bolts, and that's pretty much it. There's a big difference on the sizing. It looks a lot cleaner. We're also gonna eventually fab up an intake because we are in California. We can't buy one. We've tried different websites not letting us, so we might just fab one up, or if we get lucky and find somewhere where we could buy one, or if someone's selling one, we'll go ahead and do that. We're gonna get started with the JB4 now. Alright, so I forgot to record taking off the intake. But basically you're gonna take the screws off of the top of the intake. It's gonna be 4 screws. You're gonna take the top off, take off the intake. This is the way we did it. We felt that was a lot easier for us. And then, so once you take those off, you're gonna unscrew these 3. There's gonna be 3 torque screws on there. And then there's gonna be these rubber grommets around this. One right here, one on this side, and then one right here. You're gonna pop them all up, but you got to be careful because the line for the air conditioning is connected to that. So once you get that kind of loose, you're gonna lift it up, and there's gonna be 2 screws on the side. They're 10 mils right here and right here that hold the evaporator line. You're just gonna unbolt those, and then the whole thing comes off. Once you get that removed, you're gonna remove the sensor for the MAF, and then that's where these 2 get hooked up to, and then this 2 gets hooked up to the charge pipe. So right now that we got the thing off, we remove the clear pin for the connector. We slide this off, and then we're gonna install these 2. So we got the male goes into the male and the female goes into the female. We're gonna route the wire for the JB4 underneath here. That way it's a lot cleaner. We're gonna figure out a spot to do it. So I forgot to record it, but you have a sensor down here that you need to hook the JB4 up to. On the Burger Motorsports website, they have pictures of which one it is. But basically once you do that, you just gotta route this one cable through the grommet down there. You can see how it's coming through. You go from the inside where the e-brake's at, you push it through, and then you just feed that wire through. It's pretty simple. We just have the car on right now. We just kind of put the intake just to see how it would run. Yeah, so this car has a catless downpipe as well. It has the upgraded intercooler, and it has a K&N drop-in filter. So we'll do the draggy soon. We didn't do it before the tune, so I guess we'll just see after, and then maybe we can find a stock 2.0 and get the draggy on that. But that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, comment down below.